With an objective to actively contribute to the social and economic development of Mozambique, BCIs certainly keep themselves busy. And with more than 20 years of activity, they've certainly weathered every aspect of Mozambique's economic journey. They've had an eye on social responsibility and a desire to achieve leadership of the national market, utilising methods of accessibility and transparency. And with a prediction of low and stable inflation in the short and medium term, BCI have their eye on success. Well, joining me now is BCI CEO Paulo Sousa. Welcome to you today. BCI started its journey as a small investment bank in 1996. What has the bank's journey been like since that first day?
It has been a long one, more than 22 years of growth. As you mentioned, we began as a small bank. We were almost an SME, and we grew into a corporate and private banking bank. Then our shareholders suddenly decided that we should take a strategic change and go into retail. And that happened more or less 10 years ago. And suddenly we became to grow on our presence in the country, to touch new segments. And here we are as the biggest bank in the country with the biggest network in retail, so touching clients from a universal segment, SMEs, corporates, private. We didn't lose our initial position in the market as a private and corporate bank, but we have touched new segments. So we have been able to do both things at the same time, and we grew from a very small number of clients, and we are reaching now more than 1.8 million clients, so enormous growth. On that we have to add even more 1.3 million clients in mobile wallets that access banks through their mobile phone. So it has been a long journey, as I was mentioning, but a very good one for BCI.
An incredible journey, and I think integrity is clearly important in the banking sector. One of BCI's main objectives is to instill a code of ethics and transparency into their operations. How are you achieving this?
First, we have to communicate a very clear message internally and externally. We have a code of conduct. We are very persistent with our employees on the way they behave, how they conduct their relationship with our clients and other stakeholders. And if anyone breaks it, we are very severe in the way we punish them. So people feel comfortable working with us because they know we act in the defense of their rights and in a very transparent way in the way we manage the relationship between clients and the bank. It's difficult in our country to behave sometimes like that, but if you are persistent, you do the right things, and you tell your people what is the clear view of the bank, how to act in that way, I think on the long run we always have success. So that's what we have been doing, as you mentioned, very persistent, very transparent, very clear in the message, and reaching probably one of the reference in the market in what concerns ethics and conduct in a relationship with a bank.
I mean, you mentioned the difficulties. The last few years have seen a number of localised banks being taken over or forced into liquidation. How are BCI attempting to instill a long-term stability in the country's economy?
Yes, you need to take attention on key aspects of your activity. So if you are concentrated in questions like risk, capital, equity, liquidity, solvency, if you are running a banking operation and taking care of those fundamentals, of course on the long term you won't have problems. So we have survived all those years of crisis where, as you mentioned, we saw difficult scenarios in the system, in the country, but we have passed. We have just presented our results from 2018. with the growth of the solvency ratios, a good growth of profitability. Our income grew more than 62% in a year. A very good capacity in what concerns liquidity, so we are prepared through the country's growth to finance the economy. So if you look to the principal fundamentals of a bank, you see we have taken good care of those aspects, and that makes us a reference in the market as a behavior, but also a very consistent acting throughout the years.
And you mentioned some of the challenges of technology and the mobile wallets. Banks are changing every single day with the implementation of different technological advancements. BCI have been awarded Innovative and Digital Bank of the Year. How is BCI applying aspects of technological progress into their systematics?
Yeah, we are also a reference on the area of technology and its use. And how we can bring new solutions to communities using technology. So in the side of electronic payments, access to banking, digitalization, all the mobile banking, internet banking aspects, we are going very quickly on all those areas. So we have been quite active in applying technology, so we have been accessing all the ways we can to bring banking services to our clients. So no matter you are, even probably in the middle of the bush, if you have access to a line, you can use all our service, you can make your transfers, you can access your account, you can make payments, you can do everything. We are the single bank and the first one in the world that has made a connection between bank accounts and M-Pesa mobile wallets, so you can make transfers, but not only. You can pay with your mobile wallet from M-Pesa in our POSs throughout the country. So that makes life easy to all the customers. That brings an enormous volume of operations. For instance, in our last year, our internet banking transactions grew more than 55% only in a year. And we are talking about of billions of transactions per year. So that gives you a flavor how technology has been a powerful instrument to enlarge our operations and probably to substitute what could be some years ago the traditional way of acting of a bank in Africa. So we are at the same time we are growing our traditional network. We are putting a lot of money of investment in non-traditional channels, and probably that is what has been giving us such a success and recognition in the side of innovation and in the side of growth and touching people's day-to-day business.
I mean, you mentioned recognition, some well-deserved praise for you now. BCI have been awarded Bank of the Year in Mozambique, and you have been awarded Banking CEO of the Year for Southern Africa. What do these awards mean to you, and how do you think it reflects you and your bank's performance in recent years?
I think it's a recognition of the work, not only my work or the bank's work, our team's work. I think that should be highlighted. It's the recognition of the work that has been done throughout the years. So, you know, in Africa, people still like banks. It's not like in Europe. It's completely different. And our brand really reflects what is the relationship between the bank and the country and its communities. So I think those recognitions that you have mentioned is clearly a statement that is underlying the efforts that we have been doing for a long period, but not only on growth, but also in sharing our profits with communities through our social work, social responsibility, being together with those with more needs, helping schools, hospitals, children, women, touching the people's life every day. And I think that's all that has been done, and the trophies that we are receiving now probably gives us a different flavor, probably states that it was a good work, probably we did it right, but they only also highlighted that we need to continue so that we are able to keep that performance throughout the years in the coming ones.
So what is in store for BCI in the coming years?
So it's probably also a long journey as we began, like it happened in the past, but probably in the near future we'll have a big growth on the country as the gas projects are beginning, final investment decisions are coming, that will change dramatically the economic scenario of the country. And I think BCI needs to be prepared to take care of all those investments and to share the income with the communities. So it's what we are doing, investing and trying to meet all the requirements and expectations of those new clients that we are having. So probably it will be a little bit like it was in the past, but at a different rhythm, with a different economic scenario. We hope a very stable one with low inflation, with low interest rates, and very stable also in exchange terms. So we are building the way to development. It's what we have been trying, and I think those years to come will prove it.
Well, we wish you best of luck on your journey, Paulo Sousa, BCI CEO. Thanks for talking to us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity.